for the in-person folks can hear me, just let me know.
Okay, we can now. Thank you.
Okay, great. May I please start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hello, Honolulu Youth Commissioners. In July 2022, fares for the bus increased. And now only 2 years later, there is another proposal for a fare increase. Proposed increases in pass rates include a $5 increase in monthly youth pass rates that will affect the constituents you represent. A youth is a person 6 to 17 years of age. Proof of age is required, and youth includes high school students up to 19 years of age who have a valid high school identification card or proof of enrollment. Now, after reviewing transit revenues for the bus fiscal year 2024, the adult 7-day pass generated $576,810 compared to $14,715 for the youth 7-day pass and $73,840 for the youth 1-month pass. Instead of increasing fares for children in KP, should increase fares for the adult 7-day pass, usually bought by visitors and tourists, from $35 to $40, with no fare increase for youth passes. We should encourage residents, especially children, to use public transportation, and that starts with not increasing public transportation fares and monthly passes for residents, especially for children in Keiki. Increasing the youth 1-month pass by $5 would only generate $9,230 additional revenue compared to $82,400 in additional revenue by increasing the adult 7-day pass by $5. Now, what happens if the bus in Skyline loses riders because of a fare increase or monthly pass increase? This is why the city's Department of Transportation Services should present this proposal to the Honolulu Youth Commission at its next scheduled meeting in January 2025 before going back to the Honolulu Rate Commission to make a final and formal recommendation. In 2023, Washington, D.C. enacted a zero fare bus bill into law, eliminating the $2 fare for all city buses and residents. It's the largest city to institute a fare-free transit system and is part of a growing movement nationwide. I am not saying that Honolulu should follow the example of Washington, D.C., but we need the Honolulu Youth Commission to pass a resolution to oppose raising the price for youth passes and bus fares no later than when the Honolulu Rate Commission makes its final recommendation. Also, the Honolulu Youth Commission passed a resolution 24-011 urging the city and county of Honolulu to implement uniform discount rates for students to use public transportation. With this in mind, I encourage the Honolulu Youth Commission to introduce and unanimously pass a resolution to not increase public transportation fares and passes for the youth of Honolulu. This will incentivize Kamainan residents, especially Keikien youth, to ride the bus and Skyline, and when they become adults, they will continue to be loyal public transportation riders. Mahalo and thank you.
Thank you so much. And do we usually open it up for like questions?
Yeah, but we that's not on the agenda, so you guys can talk about it. So just say thank you. We'll put it on the next agenda.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Curtis Hayashi. Following the Sunshine Law, we will put it on our next agenda and have a discussion then.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the approval of minutes, does anyone motion to approve both the September and October minutes?
I motion.
Commissioner Bonifacio, does anyone second?
I second.
Okay, thank you. And now, oh yeah, any objections to the approval of minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved and adopted. Now moving on to the guest speakers, we have Mr. Kevin Wong to talk about resolution drafting.
Okay, so I know a few of you have seen this already last time, but this is for the new people. This is probably the first of a few training things that we're gonna be doing for you guys. Forgive me, I'm got a little bit of a cold, so bear with me. But this is to teach you guys about resolution drafting. And so to kind of start, sorry. Okay, so resolutions have a few different parts. You start with basically the title, the whereas clauses, the be it resolved clauses, the finally be it resolved clause, and signatures. For now, you guys don't really have to worry about signatures, but yeah. So the title is typically it's typically all uppercase, capitalized, as a brief summary of the idea of the resolution. You know what you're requesting. A good example here, and this is just a fun one, but requesting that the city and county of Honolulu reconsider action taken regarding the use of plastic bags within the city. The next, this is the bulk of a resolution, and these are the whereas clauses. And this is kind of what explains why we need this. Generally, it starts with a really broad statement and kind of gets more specific as you go through, giving reasons why. Specifically, legal authority for the action or the circumstances that kind of led up to why we think this is needed. It's kind of a roadmap for people to get to the point where they see what you're talking about and why this is needed. Those can go on and on and on until you get to the be it resolved clauses. And these are what you're actually requesting to happen. Therefore, be it resolved that we want the mayor to do something, we want the city council to do something, we want the director of a department to do something. And usually there's a few of these, but it's not as, doesn't need to be as detailed as, or isn't usually as detailed as the previous section. But this is one of those things where it's very important to get your point across as to what you actually want someone to do in this resolution. Okay? The last part of it is really important, kind of procedurally though. So this is the kind of thing that tells you who it's being sent to, and anything like that. If you don't send it to anybody, these people are probably not going to ever read it, because not everybody follows every commission out there, right? So you definitely want to say who you're going to send it to, that it's from the Youth Commission. The Youth Commission is asking so-and-so to do this. We are going to be delivering that to you guys, and your secretary will probably take care of that. The last little bit is a signature page. As an introducer, you're more than welcome to sign your name at the bottom. You don't have to, but in some places, across the street at the state legislature, it's a requirement that it be introduced by a legislator, and they have to put their name on it. So I know that was really quick. Do you guys have any questions for now? No? So let's see if there's
Any
anybody.
questions online?
Any questions online? Okay. Sorry, no more questions? Oh, sure.
Well,
Oh,
oh, sorry.
yes, Commissioner. Matua?
Will this slideshow be available for us later on?
Yeah.
For the backup?
Yeah, I'll send it out for you guys. And I was gonna say this last page here will have some resources. Like I said, this was very quick. If you want, there's good drafting guides that come with not only the city council but also the state legislature's legislative reference bureau has some guides to drafting resolutions. So I'll give you those links and should be helpful. Any other questions?
Is there like a certain like time limit to whether when you start and finish it? Is there a certain time it has to take?
For you guys, we have not set that. It's basically the biggest timeline that you have is to get it to the chair a week before the meeting so that it can be put on the agenda. You guys are more than welcome to make a rule that says we have to deal with it, in a year or 2 years, a term, whatever you guys prefer. But right now, it's silent. Any other questions? Okay. With that, then I do have the next part of it is it's a little longer than it needs to be, I'll admit, but it's kind of a quick thing about Robert's rules, and so we will get this going.
Robert's Rules of Order in a nutshell. Why use Robert's Rules of Order? There are two main reasons. Be efficient in making decisions and to help reduce or eliminate most conflicts. What are the basic principles? Fair debate. Preserve the rights of the minority and the absent. The right to know the meaning. The minority can protest, but the majority still decides. All votes are counted equally. Business transactions are conducted in fairness and good faith. What are some definitions? A constitution is usually articles of incorporation filed with the state. A constitution is rarely changed. It is often comprised of only a name and a purpose for the organization. Bylaws often contain officers and officer duties and committees. These types of positions may change over time. Changing the bylaws are often defined by the amendment section in the bylaws. The bylaws are usually comprised of advance notice. It could be 1 to 2 months advance notice to members. This is to protect the absent. This advance notice often contains recommended changes. And when the group does meet to make a decision or to potentially change the bylaws, it takes a 2/3 majority vote to make those changes. What is a quorum? A quorum is commonly a majority of members, but it could be a majority of active members. A quorum is often defined in the bylaws. How about a chair? A chair is a presiding officer that leads the meetings and ensures the procedures are observed. Who has an important role? The chair does to ensure the rights are preserved, but also the members to understand how and when to use procedures. Who? Everyone. What are some guidelines? It is best to use titles, Madam Chair or Mr. Chair instead of Mary or Joe. It's best to avoid personal pronouns. The chair rules the motion is, not I rule. It's best to stand when speaking to be seen and heard. It's important to address the chair and not individuals. Look at the chair when speaking. And it's important to maintain a courteous tone. In large groups, it may be necessary to state your name and perhaps identification. The chair may not recognize you or know you in a large group. How does a meeting start? There are 3 important items for a meeting. One is to verify a quorum exists. Are there enough members present to make business decisions? It may be necessary to approve the agenda. This is especially important in large groups when time is a constraint. It also can be helpful to designate a parliamentarian for large groups. What is a parliamentarian? A parliamentarian is an advisor to the chair and to the members. The parliamentarian can be asked to clarify, however, the chair makes the final decision. The parliamentarian gets the chair's attention if there are any errors or violations of rules. What is a typical agenda? Meeting minutes, officer reports, including treasurer's report and announcements. Committee reports, unfinished business, not old business, unfinished business from a previous meeting, and new business. How about meeting minutes? Meeting minutes do not need to be read to the group if they were printed or emailed. The chair simply states, are there any additions or corrections to the meeting minutes? This does not require a motion to approve. The chair simply states, the minutes stand approved as distributed, or the minutes stand approved as corrected. How about a treasurer's report? A treasurer's report is an officer report. There is no need for a motion to approve because it is a statement of fact, similar to other officer reports. What are motions? What is a main motion? A main motion is a proposal about what, when, where, who, dollars. A member rises and states, Madam Chair or Mr. Chair. The member waits to be recognized, does not speak, simply waits. The chair recognizes the member. John Arbuckle has the floor. The member makes a motion. I move we purchase a portable lectern, not I make a motion. The chair never makes motions. Only members make motions. Another member calls out second. There's no need to be recognized by the chair. In large assemblies, a member may need to stand and give a name to ensure it is a member making the second. A member may or may not agree with the motion, only agrees that the motion should be discussed. The chair states, I have a second. If no second, the chair states, is there a second? Repeat, is there a second? Hearing no second, the next item of business is. This motion is not recorded in the meeting minutes because there was no second. There is an exception, and that is resolutions. Resolutions don't need a second because resolutions are formed by a group of people, not one person. Before the motion is placed on the floor, the chair may suggest modifications before the group owns the motion. For example, the chair may state, do you want to put a maximum dollar amount spent on this portable lectern? By covering these details before it is placed on the floor, this helps eliminate some amendments. The chair then requests the secretary to restate the motion to ensure the meeting minutes are accurate. Then the chair requests the person who made the motion to confirm it is recorded correctly. Then the chair states, there is a motion on the floor that. Is there any discussion? Now it is the property of the assembly. All further action requires assembly approval, amendments, etc. Who speaks first? The maker of the motion. Who speaks second? It's best to alternate between favoring and opposing viewpoints on a motion. The chair watches body language to help determine this. To speak, stand and wait. Do not talk, just stand and wait until recognized by the chair. Everyone is given the opportunity to speak before anyone speaks twice. I'll repeat, everyone is given the opportunity. They don't have to speak, but is given the opportunity to speak before anyone can speak a second time. After a person has spoken twice, they exhaust the right to speak a third time. The chair cannot make motions and cannot join in debate. unless control of the meeting is relinquished to someone else. A chair is often replaced by an officer. The chair steps away from the lectern, is with the members, speaks with the same requirements, and no longer has the title of chair. A chair cannot interrupt unless rules are violated. A member must address the chair, not individuals. The member must be courteous, and the member cannot speak longer than 10 minutes without group approval, unless the bylaws designate a different time limit. When debate wanes, the chair states, "Are you ready for the question?" or "Are you ready to vote?" The chair can close debate after everyone has spoken twice. The chair restates the motion and calls for the vote. All in favor, aye. All opposed, no. All opposed, same sign is incorrect. All opposed, no. The chair and members can abstain. However, only yes and no votes count. Abstentions do not count. If there are 20 members present, 3 say yes, 1 says no, the motion passes. If it is a tie, the motion is defeated. If the vote is not clear, the chair calls for a visual count. Large groups use rising vote. It is easier to count members standing than to count arms and hands waving. A member may call division of assembly. This forces a visual count. When does a chair vote? Never, unless it affects the outcome. Case 1, it is a tie. The chair votes to approve. Case 2, 6 in favor, 5 opposed. The chair votes no to defeat. A tie is a defeat. There is an exception. If it is by ballot, the chair votes. The chair announces the results. The motion passes or the motion fails. The secretary records in the meeting minutes the motion and the person who made the motion. The person who made the second is not recorded. Amendments are not recorded. Only the end result is recorded. If amended, the person who made the amendment is recorded. The motion made by Joseph Blow and amended by Jane Hathaway. Discussion and comments are not recorded. How many or who voted is not recorded. Only if the motion passed or failed is recorded. What are subsidiary motions? Subsidiary motions assist in handling a main motion. Subsidiary motions take precedence over main motions and other subsidiary motions in ranking order. Only one main motion is on the floor at a time. However, multiple subsidiary motions are often okay. The order of priority is important. Main motion, postpone indefinitely, amend, commit or refer. If there is a motion to commit or refer, there cannot be an amendment until a commit or refer motion has been resolved. Postpone to a certain time, limit or extend the limits of debate. Previous question and lay on the table. All of them require a second. What is postpone indefinitely? I move to postpone this motion indefinitely. This is used to dispose of a main motion. Members would rather not take a stand on this motion, such as politics. If passed, this motion is not recorded in the meeting minutes. It is more than a delay. It eliminates the motion with no provision for bringing it back. How about amendments? I move to amend the time from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This modifies a main motion. It must be germane to the motion. The exception is U.S. Congress. If there is a motion to purchase a lectern, it is out of order to have an amendment to chop down a cherry tree. There must be a vote on the amendment before voting on the main motion. A secondary amendment can amend a primary amendment, but it must be relevant. I move to amend the amendment from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. There must be a vote on the secondary amendment before voting on the primary amendment. There cannot be an amendment to the secondary amendment. No amendment to amendment to amendment. What is commit or refer? I move that we refer this to a committee. This sends the motion to a smaller group to obtain more information prior to the next meeting. It is the responsibility of the chair, assisted by the secretary, to ensure this motion is not forgotten at the next meeting. This is brought up at the next meeting under unfinished business. It is business that was not resolved at a prior meeting. What is postponed to a certain time? I move to postpone the motion until. This sets a specific date to continue a motion. It is used if more time is needed. It cannot delay longer than 3 months, and it is brought up at that meeting under unfinished business. What is limit or extend debate? I move we limit debate. This can extend or limit the time length of debates, comments made by individual members. It can allow members to speak a third time, but it requires a 2/3 majority vote to make this change. What is the previous question? I move the previous question or call the question. This motion cannot interrupt and must be recognized by the chair, and it must have a second. It does not automatically force a vote. The chair states, the question has been called. Is there any objection? If anyone objects, it takes a 2/3 majority vote to close debate. How about lay on the table? I move to lay on the table. This is used to take care of an emergency. If it is not a matter of urgency, it is out of order. It can be resumed at any time at the same meeting or another meeting, but it dies after 3 months. To take from the table is the responsibility of the members, not the chair. It is best to use refer to a committee, not lay on the table. What are privileged motions? What are orders of the day? I call for the orders of the day. This brings an assembly back to the agenda. It can interrupt a member on the floor. It does not require a second. It forces the chair to return to the agenda. How about a question of privilege? I rise to a question of privilege. While business is pending, it is used to obtain action. It can interrupt a member on the floor. The chair states the question. The member responds, we cannot hear the speaker. How about a recess? I move we recess for 5 minutes. This provides immediate intermission. This is useful when there are heated debates and allows time for some one-on-one discussion to help reduce conflicts. How about adjourning? I move we adjourn. In the middle of a main motion? Yes. If adopted, it forces immediate adjournment. It can occur while main motion is on the floor. Suppose it was a long meeting and it was heading toward midnight. People want to go home. This might be a good time to adjourn the meeting. All pending motions are brought up under unfinished business at the next meeting. What about fixing a time to which to adjourn? I move we adjourn until 7 p.m. tomorrow. This sets the date and possibly location for the next meeting. This can occur while main motion is on the floor. All pending motions are brought up under unfinished business at the next meeting. What about incidental motions? What is a point of order? I rise to a point of order. The member believes there was a violation of the rules. The member can interrupt. No second is required. It is not debatable. The chair states, state your point. The member responds, there was no second to the motion. How about appealing the decision of the chair? I appeal from the chair's decision. This can reverse a decision by the chair. This motion may interrupt, but it does require a second. It is debatable if the pending motion is debatable. The chair states, all those in favor of upholding the chair's decision vote aye. All opposed vote no. The chair's decision is overruled if no votes exceed aye votes. What is suspend the rules? I move to suspend the rules governing the order of business. Mr. Lee needs to leave. This motion must state the specific purpose of the suspension. In this case, changing the agenda. If anyone objects, it takes a 2/3 majority vote to suspend. What is a division of assembly? I call for a division of assembly. This is used when a member doubts the result of a vote. This motion may interrupt and does not require a second. The chair states a division has been called and proceeds to take a rising vote. How about a point of information? I rise to a point of information. The chair states, state your point. The member responds, how much money is in the treasury? Adjourning a meeting can be straightforward. To adjourn a meeting with no main motion on the floor, the chair states, is there any further business? If not, this meeting is adjourned. It does not require a vote. Robert's Rules of Order in a nutshell.
Also, I'd like to thank Joe for this wonderful room and setting this up for us. Thank you very much, Joe.
Okay, I know that was a bit more than you guys needed, and there are some differences, but it was a very thorough example. So that's it for me, unless you have questions.
Any questions from commissioners present? Or any online? Hearing none, thank you so much. Okay, moving on to old business. Can one of the secretaries please give us an update on our social media accounts?
Okay. I guess for the social media, this month from October 20th to November 18th, we've reached 723 accounts. Accounts that we've engaged there's been 56, and the total followers is 909. We did have one post this month. I think that was good, and I think we should post a little bit more. Yeah.
And this post was regarding the bill signing, correct?
Yes. It was about the signing of Bill 32. Oh, can I talk about this now? Like, I was wondering if you could say like an outreach page, like I guess task them with making like a template for the post, or would that be for the
We can talk about that.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Also, for the Youth Commission survey, we have one new response. On the 12th. The top 3 areas of concern were economy diversification, education, and an environmental protection. Also, they wanted us to improve on the past climate change bills in the next 2 years, specifically about the ocean and climate justice affiliations. It's been super important to focus on legislation within our state.
You can omit the last part.
The last one or this one still?
Oh, you can talk about these two.
Okay. And then she said to envision a government office who has plans to save our planet for the sakes of future generations. The Paris Agreement being completed, resulting in zero net emissions and collaboration from all countries around the world, not just from Honolulu, and also Honolulu carrying the #1 climate conscious state in America, and include various laws and bills regarding the climate crisis. So it's very like climate change centered.
And then the action from us.
And then she'd like us to see more community events like beach cleanups, speaker sessions, or even informational fairs to help youth find a way to share or use their voice. And then she wants to know what she can do to support the Youth Commission or join. Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, after we like send out the minutes for this month's meeting, we can put that on the agenda. We can put what we got from the survey on the agenda for the next meeting so that we can move, or we can have a discussion about these topics then. And that was all for old business. Moving on to PIGs. I believe the secretaries had a request to make to the PIG for outreach. If you can just read
Yes,
that
I was wondering if the outreach pig could, I guess, create a template for our Instagram posts or just posts in general, because like last year we had maybe one or two like posts about like when our meeting is gonna be, and each time it was a different like template. So I was wondering if the outreach pig could make one template and then the secretaries can just fill in the information for that meeting, so that we can do that and then like not have to worry about changing it, and then it'll look more professional, I think.
I know that there is a Canva account and folder for our like media and social medias, and I think that'd be good if the PIG for outreach and the secretaries had access to that. I know that some people do and some people don't, so we'll have to check on that as well. But are there any updates from the PIG for outreach? I know that all the chats were created for the PIGs. I'm not sure if everyone was able to check if they have been added or not. But I know that there was some trouble having some commissioners join in or like have them added in certain chats. So I believe there's nothing new for the PIG for outreach besides the business that we will have in the future. And hearing no updates from the PIG for outreach. Moving on to PIG for environment. I see that our spokesperson, Commissioner Shimizu, isn't here. Is anyone else in the PIG for environment? Were there any updates?
No updates.
No updates. And then the PIG for youth intervention and trafficking. Second
Yeah,
vice.
there's no updates. Hopefully we can get a meeting going before the December Youth Commission meeting for sure.
Okay, thank you. And then PIG for HYC newsletter, I know for a fact that there hasn't been any updates as we're planning to roll out a December or end of the year newsletter like we did last year. And actually, yeah, I think that's something that we should discuss. The PIG for HYC newsletter, it exists to send kind of like quarterly, I suppose semesterly, kind of updates from the commission, and it's also an opportunity for us to kind of spread the word through a piece of media. And yeah, so the PIG for HYC newsletter exists for basically sending out those newsletters, and we always had one in December. So, Secretary Mishina, do you have a question?
Sorry, I guess,
Wait, sorry, we couldn't hear you that well. Can you repeat that?
would it be possible to talk about the issue of the PMGs?
In joining PIGs?
Okay. Perhaps I think I want something to speak.
Do you think you can type out that last part? Do you think you can type out that last part? I'm so sorry.
No, he's typing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, while we are waiting on that, was there any points of discussion in rolling out a HIC newsletter? Oh, okay. Yeah, if there are any problems in joining the signal, please email one of the secretaries, and if you need access to their emails, we can share that after the meeting. we would really love to get it fixed because that is our main source of communication, especially for the PIGs. So please be on top of that and make sure to check your signal chats regularly. Thank you so much, Secretary Mishina. But yes, were there any like objections to rolling out a newsletter soon, either in December or January? Oh, so we write like a page of our updates. For example, we have new members for this new fiscal year, correct? And also basically resolutions that have been passed or that we've talked about, and we just meet via Signal. Like we can either just have a chat or have a call even. It's kind of we interact just like any of the other PIGs. We work together and collaborate on this one piece of media so that we can roll it out. Well, first we would have to get approval, but after we get it approved, we can roll it out to the general public. Hopefully that answers your question.
You can also take a look at our last newsletter from January if you have any questions about what might be on it.
And that should be available on our website, correct?
Yeah, it is.
And that was all for the PIG for HIC newsletter, and with that, all of the PIGs have given their reports. Moving on to new business and resolutions. I believe we have a new resolution that was emailed out to all of us. Hopefully we've had a chance to review it. If you would like to present it.
Okay, so I wrote this resolution. It's about considering Sydney, Australia as a sister city. I guess like the main idea is like it'll strengthen like international relations. So far we have at least 30 something sister cities throughout the world. There's some in like there's a lot in China and the Philippines, and as well as like Morocco and places in the South America. And so far there is no sister city in Australia, so I think that would be helpful. So there's direct flights between the Daniel K. Inouye International Airport and Sydney Kingsford Smith Airport. You can go on different airlines that have direct flights. There's about 13,000 Australian tourists each month that come here. There's a little more, but then it helps promote the exchange between the two cities. Australia has a very like well-known consulate here, and I think it's one of the actual consulates, not honorary consulates. And it opened in 1973. They also are involved with RIMPAC. And then, there's different like there's a similar mix of cultural and ethnic demographics and immigration history. So there's a lot of like different like I guess blends of cultures, which we find here and there. So I think that's helpful for creating a sister city. And then one of the other points was that the Honolulu Zoo has only 4 Australian animals. However, if we were sister cities, we could possibly have more. And I think that would also help make Honolulu Zoo maybe higher on the ranking in the nation. Because I know that was something that the city council and everyone was very like passionate about this year. And we got 4th, and I think they wanted 1st. So I think that would definitely help, and yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Secretary Shea?
Oh.
Okay, before we discuss our resolution, I'm so sorry, Vice Chair Ho. We would like to have our guest speaker or public testimony testify. Yeah. Oh, testify.
I will testify.
Do I have to motion to go back?
You want to go in the front?
Please.
3 minutes.
I can testify on any of the agenda items, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's only 2 things on the agenda.
Do I have to specifically testify about a resolution?
It's the resolution or the possible recesses. Those are the action items we have.
Is the resolution the 24-018?
Correct.
What is it about?
It's the one our Vice Secretary I presented just now regarding
Sister
having
City?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you have a copy of the draft resolution?
Posted online.
It's posted?
Yeah, online.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to connect. I'm still looking at my notes. Aloha, I'm Angela Melody Young from Roar Cares. So we're a grassroots movement, and then we advocate for topics relating to safety, emergency response management teams, also environmental protection, cleaning up the environment, and of course, culture and international relations with countries across the world. So the importance of the sister city, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to look it up right now. One moment. Okay, so sister cities strengthen our resilience in diplomatic relationships, and also creating sister city relationships with other countries helps us to learn about the cultures and the lifestyles and the communities and the environments and in the other nations and what their rules are like and what government is like. For example, Australia is, I think, a democratic government, so they operate with democracy, and they do allow voting, but it's not like a king and a queen like England. So where it's like a monarchy, right? So if there doesn't exist a current sister relationship with Australia, one should ask if the democracy in the government process is different, right? So maybe Australia's government hasn't been active to create and to establish a relationship, because of the government style. Although I think outreaching and being active in engagement of the countries and nations that you'd like to learn from and to create a cultural relationship with, it'd be good to ask them by resolution proposed by mandate, and law.
I'm so sorry, but 3 minutes has been passed. Is that your closing remark then?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything else to add on to this discussion of sister cities and regarding Assistant Secretary Shea's resolution? I know that Vice Chair Ho had his hand up earlier.
Yeah, I was just kind of, first of all, I like the resolution. I think it's a great resolution. And I know we have a number of sister cities with some cities in Japan. But I'm just kind of curious, and this is not like a gotcha question or anything. I'm just genuinely curious. Are there any like direct benefits that like citizens will gain from this like partnership?
I'm not exactly sure how to answer this right now.
Direct benefits as in, like,
Well, I know like a lot of times like sister city relationships are mainly like symbolic. So are there any like practical benefits? For instance, I know that's an international location. Like I don't know, like just this is obviously just a hypothetical, but like another like faster lines and customs. Like I'm just obviously like I'm just curious. Are there any like practical benefits like travel-wise that citizens will receive, or is this mainly like a economic and symbolic relationship?
I mean, I don't think there's very many like benefits like that, like skipping lines and customs. I think it's more like cultural and government wise. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
I think also it's kind of implicit in like the resolution where it does mention that like we have like more than 13,000 Australian tourists that travel to Honolulu each month, perhaps establish or like considering Sydney as a sister city would aid in things like that, or even the Honolulu Zoo, like things like that. I think those were kind of like the implicit benefits that were embedded into the resolution. Any other questions or further comments on?
So talking about the zoo, so are they like gonna add any animals, or is it just like a thought? I mean, so far it's just a thought. Like, so like the outcome of this whole bill was to have the label of sister city with Australia. Yes. Oh, Riley has his hand up.
Yeah, Secretary Mishina?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I was just wondering, if there were like any other previous sister cities within Honolulu that kind of had like what Honolulu gained from it? Because I know like you talk about the animals, but is there like another like sister city which kind of is similar to this example?
I mean, like most of the sister cities that I found on like found like in general, it's been like places where there's like culturally, or like I guess like ethnically the same. Like I know in Korea there's Incheon and Seoul, and then there's also like a few. There's like one in Morocco, and one in Colombia. So there's just like, I mean, I don't really think it's like exactly like that. I think it's more like they did it because of like the history, I guess, in some of those places. But yeah.
Thank you.
Some comments. Yeah, I like this resolution because it may be symbolic, but I think it'll be a good stepping stone to more discussions about partnerships with Australian tourist industry and all that. Help promote Honolulu more in that sector, and possibly even get up to state level at some point. So I think even though it's something that may not look significant now, I think it'll benefit us in another 10 years from now. Thank you.
Yeah, any other comments or questions for the topic or to Vice Secretary Shea? Okay, hearing none, we are going to move to a vote, or do you have to motion to vote? Oh, okay, I just take the vote. Those who approve, or those who wish to pass, Resolution number 24-18. Please say aye.
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 Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, there was a unanimous decision to pass this HIC resolution number 4018, and it has been adopted. Congratulations. And the next item on new business is discussion about the December recess. I hope everyone has had a chance to think about it. I know that Vice Chair Soon has not been able to make it, but he voiced an opinion against having a meeting, so I suppose in other words that's for having a recess for this for December, and we can start the discussion there. Does anyone have strong opinions like for or against having a meeting in December?
I was thinking that it'd be better if we don't do a recess. I know last year we didn't have a recess, and the noise level didn't seem to be a problem, but Chair Lim also said that they're planning to do a bigger city lights this year. So I mean that could be different, but last year it didn't seem to be a problem. I think the only hard part was getting to the room. Also, at the end of the meeting, we were able to go outside to the city lights and take photos together with the commissioners that were still here, and we were able to use that to post on our Instagram as a happy holidays or Merry Christmas type of post, and I think that'll be good for us this year.
Okay, is there anything that interferes from us coming to this room besides traffic and
We have to go down and get you guys individually because no one's supposed to come up the stairs. But I mean, that's it.
Okay, sorry, before I get to Secretary Mishina, Commissioner Matua did ask, is it possible to do the meeting via WebEx? Are we allowed to just have a virtual meeting?
It's up to you guys.
Oh, it's up to us. Okay, so Commissioner Matua did ask if it's possible to have a meeting purely online, and it is possible. It is up to what we decide in this discussion, and Secretary Mishina, please, speak.
Sorry, Chair, what day would the December meeting fall on if we do have it?
We do just have our meetings third Tuesday of every month, and I assume it would be the same. So it would be December 17th. I know that we did kind of say that if we were to have it in person, we might be able to move around the date and such, but I think it would be good to keep the date consistent and just decide whether or not if we are going to have a meeting and if we're going to do it online, purely 100% online or in person or hybrid. So yeah, probably December 17th. Did anyone want to change the date for any reason? Hearing none, did any commissioners in person, I suppose, agree with Commissioner Shea or have strong opinions about having a December recess or not?
I have some comments. Yeah. I agree with the having a meeting in December. I think that we have more work to do, and I think it would be good to have an extra meeting to get some more discussions through and prepare us for the upcoming year. And yeah, I think, and I also like the idea of taking pictures if everyone can come in person. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that.
Yeah, for sure. So can we have two separate votes, whether whether or not we are going to have the meeting and if we want it online or in person. Okay.
Just so you know, Lalo's not gonna be here pretty soon.
What's that gonna be here? Are we like bound by sunshine to like have our meeting available?
The people recording.
Oh, okay. They do an awesome job. I agree with that. Okay. Does anyone else have comments or anything to say regarding whether or not we will have a meeting or not in December? If not, we can move on to a vote.
There should be a motion to either have the meeting or have a recess.
Oh. Okay. So, anyone can make a motion to have a December meeting or have a recess. So, yeah, anyone can make the motion.
I motion to not have a December recess.
So have the meeting.
Just to have one. Have a meeting.
And does anyone second? Does no one second?
I'll second that.
Any objections to this motion? Hearing none, we will have a December meeting. So no December recess. We will have a meeting, and now it is up to us to decide if we're going to have it purely online or keep it hybrid like we have been doing. So note that if we do have it hybrid and some of us are present in person, just note that there will be a lot of problems with parking, moving through, I suppose, like large population groups of people, and most likely noise, and as well as having to get to this room via like other officials and people, because we won't be able to just walk up the stairs. Does anyone have any comments or preferences on whether or not we want to have it in person or 100% online?
I say I just say hybrid. Keep it as it
Keep
is.
it like this.
I know we won't have a Lelo, right? Is that what I was saying?
Yeah, we won't have a little,
That's
but we
fine,
will
but-
have it recorded via WebEx.
Recordings, but I think just keep it hybrid. I think unless everyone, does anyone know that they can come in person, like now, like I know I'll be there, so
I can come in
I
person.
can come
yeah.
as
So I think we'll keep it hybrid.
No, Commissioner Matua, if you had any comments?
Would it be alright if, my preference towards the meeting in December would be towards, more so online due to parking and also the loud noises. And if we were to go hybrid, you did say that we would have a lot of problems. So going online would be more efficient and less time consuming.
Yeah, it would pose some difficulties to people who do decide to show up in person, but just note that the option for joining online is also there for the hybrid option as well. And Secretary Mishina, if you had any comments?
Would it be for the resolutions? I know we usually have that, not rule, but we usually keep it to where if you write a resolution, it would be in person. Would it just be the same and anyone can write a resolution, or would we have like a pause in that due to?
I don't recall having a rule that if you had a resolution, you had to come speak for it in person.
Alright.
I
I
think.
know it was like past like Chair Campbell used to had something. She kind of there was something where
Yeah, Chair Campbell said that she did not want to discuss a resolution when the person who wrote it was not present, period. I believe I also wrote a resolution and I presented it online. So I don't think that will interfere with the December meeting, because as long as the person who wrote it is in the meeting available to speak on it, we should be fine. So yeah. Yeah, does anyone motion to keep the meeting hybrid, or I suppose if no one motions to have it 100% online, we will just keep having our meetings the way it was for December. So if anyone would like to motion anything besides having the meetings as it were, now is the time to do so. And hearing none, the motion for having a December meeting still stands, and our meeting methods will remain the same. Okay, moving on to future agenda items, we will have ethics training coming in December. So will it be here, or will we have to push it to January? Okay. So just know that that is coming up in any one of our future meetings, probably soon. And yeah, announcements. The next meeting will still be the third Tuesday of next month, so that is December 17th. Same time, same place, 5:30 p.m. in this room or online. And resolutions and documents are due to me before a week before the meeting. Please just email it to me when you have it done. And moving on to adjournment. This meeting is adjourned at 6:40 p.m. Yeah. Thank you all.